Okay, so I'm going to explain here how to set up the SM64 Romhack AP world. There's already an old tutorial I made for this, but I feel like I could do better, and there's a lot that's changed since then, so first of all, what hacks will work with this? Because that's an important thing that I need to specify here. Every binary hack, with a few minor exceptions, should work with this. I say should because I don't want to guarantee anything, but like, as long as the binary hack doesn't have like significant amounts of custom code, it should be compatible. There's a few extra ones that aren't compatible right now that I want to manually add compatibility in for, but for the most part, every binary hack should work with this because it's a universal system. Now, there are hacks that don't work with this AP world, and a lot of those hacks are decomp hacks. So I think the easiest way to tell is I'm going to put a link in the description for Star Display. This is not the Archipelago Star Display that came bundled with the old versions of this software. I want to deprecate that for reasons that I'll probably explain in the FAQ on the GitHub page. But anyway, download the original Star Display, or a lot of Romhack people already have this. It's a very useful program. The easiest way to check if a Romhack is decomp is right-click, Game Edits, click to warp. And if I get into the game, this is a starter version 3.5 because it's the last hack I had opened, but this will like warp you to a level. If I open the decomp hack, here, Serene Fusion. So this is a hack that isn't decomp. I made a level in this hack. And now that, see, you can't cheat on decomp ROM, so cheating on decomp ROM's a lot of fun in here. So yeah, this error message shows up whenever you try to warp to a level on a decomp hack, and I'd say it's the easiest way to tell if the hack that you're trying to play is decomp or not. So okay. So now that I got that out of the way. So what are you going to need for this? So you're going to need a legally obtained ROM of the hack that you want to play. You're going to need either a GSML file or there's this GitHub repository I created with every like community. If you're a community member, if you make if you make your own JSON file, give it to me so that I can add it to this website. Basically, there's a bunch of hacks here. So if the hack you want to play is here, just download it from here. You don't have to go through the effort of making it on your own. So in this case, I could just download. If I want to play 24-hour hacks, I could just download this. That being said, I'm not going to download this because I want to show you how to make everything. So anyway, you're going to need you're going to need Archipelago downloaded, the local client, whatever. You're going to need these two JavaScript files, and I'll explain what to do with them later. You're gonna need an emulator, specifically Luna's Project 64. This is the emulator you're gonna need, and this emulator is a Windows executable, but it supports Wine. It's like deliberately like, if you have an issue with this emulator in Wine, you should tell the creator of the emulator. You should tell AgLab, because this emulator is supposed to support being used in Wine. That's like kind of half the reason it was created. So if you're one of those Linux users, you should be comfortable using Wine, and I shouldn't need to explain how to use that, but anyway. And then optionally, you can also download the object shuffler here, but I'll get into that later. It's not the best, but that's an optional step. So the first thing you're going to want to do is obtain a JSON file. Again, if it's on this website, you can just download it. But if it's not, you might want to create your own. Now, if you can find if it already exists, that's great. Just move on to the next section. But if it's not, I'm going to show you how to create your own JSON file. So here's this little website I created. And you can go here and you can insert a JSML file. Now, what's a JSML file and where do I get a JSML file? Well, I'm glad you asked. There's this GitHub repo, which is where so a JSML file, what it actually is, it's when I was showing you Star Display earlier, a JSML file is kind of the file that Star Display uses to know where the stars are. So if I go into the layout folder here, you can see there are a bunch of JSML files, and that's because that's like the internal file that Star Display uses. But it also tells you exactly what stars exist in a hack, which is nice for like creating a JSON file. So anyway, you've obtained a JSML file, and I have one in a thingy right here, so I'm going to open it, and I'm going to hit create thingy. Very descriptive. And so you can see a lot of things here. So again, I'm choosing 24-hour hack because A, I made it, and B, it's short, but I should be able to explain a lot of stuff here. So you have courses here on the left. You can click these and you can set what's required to enter the course. So for example, Bowser 1 I know requires 20 stars. And the victory also requires 20 stars. And because the victory is in Bowser 1. Or technically it's a little bit further in the game, but whatever. But I know Vanish Cap exists, and actually Vanish Cap exists, so you can also click the caps and keys here, and then victory is what's required to beat the game. So basically you can change this if the hack has multiple endings to the ending you want to complete, and you can also import a JSON file that was already outputted into this program so that you can like change stuff. For example, if you want to change the victory requirement to only require like half the stars and then you BLJ to the rest of the game, if you want to do that, you can. But anyway, so for cannons, notice that there's like and caps and keys and stuff, notice that there's a checkbox here that says exists. That's because not every hack has every cannon or every key or whatever, so you want to hit this, and then now it'll exist, and this doesn't require anything, so I'm just going to say it exists. I remember this star requiring the cannon and the Vanish Cap requiring the cannon. So if you want to specify that something requires a cannon, you just hit add cannon requirement, and you want to make sure the drop down is on the cannon. Like let's say course 1 cannon doesn't exist, but let's say it does exist. If this required course 1 cannon, you would do that. And the reason why it's set up this way is because what's it called? The reason why it's set up this way is that some like levels require you to have access from. It's basically to accommodate any kind of requirements that could ever exist, and that's also why this drop down exists. Let's say course 5 existed and it doesn't have any stars in it. Well, it wouldn't be in here. But let's say it exists and it has a cannon. Well, maybe course 4 requires that cannon to enter, so you can hit this and you can add the cannon. It's just like a little workaround that I created for that specific purpose. I don't know of any hacks where that's the case, but I figured that's important to create just in case. But anyway, back to course 4. This one requires Vanish Cap. Secret 2. I know what this is. This is Finland. But let's say you don't know what like level this is. So I'm going to open 24-hour hack just to show you. And this really matters a lot for like. This really matters a lot for certain hacks which you don't know anything. Like a lot of hacks have like multiple secret stages, and all of the secret stages have like 1 star in it, and you don't know which secret stage is which level. This is I'm going to show you how to figure that out. So I'm going to go click Game Edit, click to warp again, go to Finland, which is on the Star Display layout, and usually the layout has like some indication of what level is where. So like here, it's FI for Finland. And then I can go to Game Edit, warp to level once I'm in the level itself. And then this will show me, okay, Finland is, and it'll automatically put you on the level that you're currently in. So in this case, it says aquarium. And so secret 1 is rainbow, secret 2 is aquarium, and secret 3 is the end. That's kind of how it works, because it's in order here. And if you're wondering, even though there's 3 overworlds here and there's like the fights thing, those levels have like the same star IDs. At like fight 1, actually if you get a star in the fight levels, it actually counts as a key, funnily enough. But anyway. For like all the overworlds, they all share the same star IDs, so you can't exactly use it for you can't exactly, like, it isn't like there's 3 separate overworlds with 7 stars each. No, all the overworlds share star IDs, so if it's in one of the overworlds, it's in all of the overworlds, basically. But some hacks are weird in that they have, like, I'll just show an example. Before I explain, so that's the reason why we know this is Secret 2, because Secret 1 is Rainbow, Secret 2 is Aquarium, Secret 3 is the end. This is Aquarium, Secret 2, Finland is Secret 2. But let's just open up Super Mario 74 just to show you. Just really quickly, show you that not every overworld is an overworld. Also, I think it's... I hate 74 sometimes. I'm just gonna game edits. Edit flags. Okay. I'm just shooting in. You may notice that I'm not in an overworld, and a game edits warped a level. I'm in Rainbow Clouds, which is Secret 1. That's because 74 is weird, and this is actually a secret course that pretends to be an overworld. And that's the case of a lot of hacks. So these names are just the names of the vanilla courses for the ones that aren't like course 1 or whatever. So you're gonna have to do a little research to find out which course is which. So it's the best way that you can do it, really. But anyway, actually, I should probably open the emulator. Anyway, is there anything else I need to change? I think, yeah, I set this to require vanish gap. Okay, so all the requirements are set. You have all your things existing. You put your hack name here. You hit download JSON file, and it'll create your JSON file for you. Again, though, I'm just going to use the one that I already have. I just wanted to explain that it was possible to create your own. Oh, one more thing. So, certain hacks are special. Like, certain hacks have levels, especially open world hacks. So, open world hacks are basically hacks that, like, each level, instead of going into it from an overworld, it leads to a different level. And the nature of those hacks usually means that there's, like, multiple ways to get into the same level. So, let's say I need... For course 3, to enter course 3, I need either the wing cap or the metal cap. That's actually a pretty, like, I can't just do require this, because that says it requires both, when it doesn't. It only requires one of them. So how do you do this? Conditional requirements. So, I've seen people do it this way. The way this works is that each conditional requirement is separate, but each requirement here on the left-hand side is like a hard requirement. So if I say 15 here, it will require 15 no matter what I put in here. What I see a lot of people doing is I see a lot of people doing this. And that's not how you're supposed to do it. I understand why. It's probably a UI thing. But I don't feel like fixing it, so I'm just going to explain it here instead. Instead, what you need to do is you need to create 2 separate conditional requirements and separate them out like this. But anyway... That's enough long-winded explanation for something that I'm not sure everybody's going to use. Anyway, hello everybody who skipped the part about creating your own JSON file. We're back to the normal part of this tutorial. So anyway, we have our ROM, we have our JSON file. We're all good. I guess this is the part where I would explain how to use the object shuffler. This is an old piece of software. This is like from 2019, and it is very janky and very like. I'd not say this is the greatest piece of software in the history of the world. So, while I will say it does work, I would not trust it to give you a possible seed. Let's just put it that way. So, anyway, warp. So this can randomize warps, objects, music, and Mario's clothes. Mario's clothes is fine, but I don't like randomizing it because it's weird. Music usually works, but sometimes it breaks. I think you should disable warps every single time because it just does not work well. And objects, that's like the whole reason you're doing this. So anyway, you set this. Now you open your ROM. You enter the seed, or you hit new seed, enter seed. I don't know exactly what these buttons do. Again, this program is ancient and it is not documented well, and it sucks, and it is very janky. If you have a problem with this program, I cannot help you because this program is very janky. Okay, you hit randomize. Sometimes it freezes when you hit randomize and there's nothing you can do. Again, this program is janky, and then you save the ROM. So, yeah, I'd recommend... It's still fun to play around with it, but I do not trust it, especially if you're doing like a really large archipelago where like if it doesn't matter if it's like a solo async or something, then it is complete. You can use it, but like if you're relying on everything being possible, that is not the way to go about doing it, because there is a good chance some objects will because the way it does is it shuffles all the object positions around, which sometimes can cause things to just spawn in impossible spots. Depending on how the hack was created. But anyway. Enough long-winded rambling. We're going on to actual setup. For once. So we're going to take the AP World file. This is found in the GitHub link. And we're going to put it in the custom worlds folder in Archipelago. We're going to take the JSON file, and we're going to put it in the root folder of Archipelago. So we're going to go to the Archipelago thing, and where all the .exe files are, that's where you put the JSON file. And now we're going to hit Archipelago Launcher. We're going to wait a second for it to open up. I guess while it's opening up, I'm going to explain what to do with the JavaScript files. So I'm actually going to disable the debugger just to show you how to enable it, because I forgot to disable it before I started. But anyway, so here we're going to go hit generate template options. This is just the easiest way to create a valid YAML file, but there are many ways. So go to the players folder, templates. I'm going to delete Paper Mario. That was just me testing. SM64 Romhack. Put it in here. And so here you can change your name or whatever. Really, there's only two important things. Here you can set progressive keys and def links. Progressive keys basically makes it so that key 2, you get key 2 after key 1 if it's true. Otherwise you can get them at any time. In this case, the keys don't even exist in the hack I'm playing. Usually if you're playing like vanilla, you want this to be false because you can use key 2 even when you don't have key 1. But if you need key 1 to use key 2, I like setting this to true just so that if you get key 2, it's not useless. And here you're going to want to change the JSON file name. So here to the name of the JSON file from earlier. So I'm just going to change it to 24-hour hack. Okay, we're going to open up our launcher. We're going to hit generate. And it should generate the file. Let's go to the output folder, find the newest file or whatever. Go to the Archipelago server. Go to the Archipelago thing. Generate a randomized, not generate, host a pre-generated game. Upload file. This is the wrong folder because that's my that's my dev folder. Output. Create new room. So now we have our little room here. But how do we actually connect to the game? I mean, I can open up the ROM, but like I can't really do anything once I'm in the game. That's what that's where this comes in. So first of all, you're gonna go in the game. Why can't I hear audio? Whatever. You're gonna go to debugger, hit enable debugger, hit yes here, and then go debugger scripts. So you should see this little window. You can hit these three dots here, and it'll bring you to the scripts folder. So this is. Now we're going to go back to the tutorial. We're going to take our two .js files. And we're going to put them into the scripts folder. And it should show them, or you might have to, you're going to have to close and reopen the scripts file folder. And actually, before you do this, you should erase file A and file B. You want to make sure they're both empty, because otherwise this will break. If file A is if file B isn't empty, it'll break, and if file A isn't empty, it'll probably break. Anyway, so now this is the most confusing part. You're gonna open BizHawk client. Now you might be about to say, "Wait a second. We're not using BizHawk, we're using Project 64. Why are we using BizHawk client?" Well, that's the thing. This connector PJ64 generic thing, this pretends to the BizHawk client like it's BizHawk. It pretends to be BizHawk in it. And the reason why you don't want to use BizHawk is because BizHawk is just not a good emulator for SM64 hex. A lot of things will break. So I think you probably could use BizHawk for this. I would not recommend it. I will not provide support to you if you're using BizHawk. That's basically the best way to put it. If you want to use this emulator, or you should be using. You can use any version of Project 64 after like version 3.0.1. I just think that you should be using Luna's Project 64 since it's basically made for SM64 hex. So, but if you want to use like a different version of Project 64, go ahead. As long as it has access to these JavaScript to these scripts. So now you run the PJ64 generic connector. Also, this will work for any N6 or most N64 games. I can't say any because I've only tested this with Paper Mario. That used the generic BizHawk client. I don't think OOT works because it has its own special client, but like I know I tried Paper Mario and I did an entire randomizer and it finished. So we're gonna connect to the BizHawk. So now you see how it connected successfully, and I'm just gonna hit connect here. Actually, I'm stupid. You need to change this to be the port that you actually use. So in this case, it's 54153. Let's actually connect. And so now we are connected. So if I go in game, Let's just go into course 3 because it has a star I can get at the very start. Because this is a very short hack. I thought I fixed that bug. What? Oh my god. Well, I'll fix the coin count bug or whatever before I release this, but you'll see I got a star and it gave a star in the thingy. And if I can find one, it would be nice to find something that isn't a star, but actually I'll pause until, nah, it doesn't matter. You can see I'm getting stars, it's detecting the stuff I'm getting, and it's giving me the stuff that I'm getting in return. If you want, you can also use Star Display. This is a very helpful program for knowing what stars you've gotten and what stars you haven't. And yeah, you can just play the game now. If you beat the game, you want to run this script. Now, the reason why you want to run this script whenever you beat the game is pretty simple. Or the reason why it's a script here, team number 1 has completed all their games. Congratulations, yeah. But the reason why it matters to like run the script. How do I explain it? The reason why it's a script and it doesn't like automatically detect when you beat the game is because every hack is like its own victory condition. It's all like different. Like each hack is different. Like I cannot know with certainty what constitutes beating a specific hack. So I'm kind of just winging it and saying, hey, let's be honest here. You know, it's basically the honor system. You know. Each player gets to decide whenever they've beaten the hack. And obviously, right now I haven't, but I get to say I have, because there's no way to know, really. But anyway. That's about it. This is a little longer than I wanted it to be, but I'll manage.